Hi there, I'm Mojo Dallas, and this is my vision video for the Posers Unreal Portal software that I've been developing. Uh, at my age, though, I said we'll make a vision video. I think it's more at my age a vague idea of what I might do next rather than a vision. I'm retired, a software developer. In my past life, and as part of my retirement, I do yearly projects. And my first yearly project I did in retirement was creating a 3D world that was my hometown from the mid '60s. My second one is this project, which is the Posers Unreal Portal project. Uh, I've been a Poser user for a long time, and you can see a lot of my renders by either going to my website, and you see some of them in one of the videos I created for the Poser Unreal Portal. The action video's got a lot of my Poser renders in it. And I hope you can maybe go to my website and check out some of the rendering I've done over the years in Poser and View and other pieces of software. But in addition to doing the rendering and the 3D art associated with things like Poser, I also did a lot with animations and game engines as part of my hobby while I was still working. That included a long stint in the Second Life game engine in terms of both inside of the actual game and then the community version they released for you to develop your own, create your own server using the Second Life software, and a piece of software called Multiverse, which I got involved in very heavily. Also, I've been, the last couple of years, been more involved with the standard game engines, such as Unity, CryEngine, and most recently Unreal Engine. I went ahead, and when the Poser game development came out, I went ahead and bought it because I thought that would be really cool to take my favorite 3D art package, the power of Poser with the characters and the animation and posing, and all the content, and getting it to work inside of a game that would be more like a Second Life type of game. So I went ahead and utilized it and created a couple tutorials, but after using it for a while, I decided, maybe what I should really do is try to help Poser users become new game developers, because out of the box, it's really hard just to take what Smith Micro has done in terms of creating, it allows you to go create the FBX exports, but the real challenge is being able to do that, do something with those exports once you get them into a game engine. And that's why I decided to work on this software project. I felt a bridge, a portal was needed to take a Poser user and be able to make them a little more comfortable in a game engine. That included building quite a bit of software that utilized the Poser figures and animations and would save the end Poser user. In the end, it would save them having to develop this from scratch themselves. I chose Unreal Engine because of its power. I was familiar with it. It's got a tradition of strong community of game developers, including using Unreal Tournament, and so I felt this was kind of like Unreal Tournament, but using Poser assets. And the decision made by Epic Games to release Unreal Engine for free to game developers was a clincher in the deal of using Unreal Engine. And lastly, I just wanted to say, I am retired, so keep that in mind as you go through this presentation. Well, so the Poser Unreal Portal, or PUP, what it is a set of different pieces of software, and we'll start showing that in a minute. I felt again it was a doorway from being a Poser user into becoming a game developer. It's made up of 4 basic pieces. There is the game, the demo game I created. And the reason I created this demo game, it's a single-player game, was to make sure that I really did develop the pieces of software that would make it easier for Poser users to start creating games. So it was actually the development of the software. and the game you can play it. And there's a couple of videos I've got out there showing versions of the game and playing the game. It's more of a virtual sandbox than a game per se, but it gives you an idea of what you can do with the Portsl assets and what you can do with the development kit I've developed. The second part is the development kit, and I'll be showing that in Unreal Engine here in a few minutes. And it contains a lot of things, a lot of animations, over 5,000 of them, all the Portsl content from the latest version of Portsl that I've converted for use in Unreal. A lot of custom programming, including a library management system, some morphable figures, clothes, placeable props, a weather system, custom lights and advanced cameras, and a programming base that allow you to actually have some e-commerce, some in-store games, and sell products. And also I've got a lot of demo levels in there, so you can see me flying on a kite, a hang glider, shooting demo, sword demo, a number of other things. And so the thought was I'd release the game, have the development kit, which would include a community with a bunch of how-to tutorials and other downloadable assets. And then eventually I plan on making a server-based, massively multiplayer online game with a Portsl content to have an online community where Portsl users get together and utilize this new technology and show each other what they had developed, and sort of like, if you really look at it, an online real-time gallery instead of just a render gallery like currently Portsl users use. So let's go ahead and look at some of the game. I'm going to go in here right now and show you the Portsl Unreal Portal's development environment, which is really Unreal's Engine's development environment. This isn't the game. This is the basically where the game is built, and it's all the integrated development environment for that. As you'll see down here on the lower left-hand side, there is the content, and I've added a number of assets, some audio, some blueprints. Blueprints, by the way, is a scripting language, and I'll be showing you a little bit of that, and that's what almost all the programming is done in. This is actually C++-based underlying code, and this is a C++ project, although I have stuck to the scripting language almost 100% in terms of developing things to make an easier transition for Portsl users, not having to get into the complexity of C++, but more staying at the level of a visual scripting language. The other thing is a number of levels. I've got some effects in here, some lights. You'll see some props I added. You'll see Portsl figures. So if I look at Portsl figures, you'll see all the figures there. A bunch of Portsl props, whether they be buildings or furniture or weapons or other things. Some Portsl scenes, and so on. I have a weather system in here and a number of other things. So if we kind of go look at some of that, I'll go ahead and show you. This is a level here. I could go switch to a different level. A level being a scene, basically, and they're in the maps area here. So if I look at the maps, I'll see a number of them here. So I could go to like Maui Pool, and you'll see that this here is the view of what the game looks like. And there I've gone into there, and there's a number of things that you'll see here that represent different pieces of the software. Like this is where the player will start. This is a weather system I've added, and then I placed the props in here as well. And you can see I can select a prop, and for example, this seems to be able to move it up, I can move it down, I can move it around. So this is how you would build a scene by pulling in different assets from the library over in the lower left. So if I looked at some Mojo props, for example, and if I wanted to bring in some any number of things, some shapes. If I wanted to bring in a primitive shape like a cylinder, I could just bring it in. or if I wanted to bring in a prop that I had imported from Portsl, I could just bring it into the world as well. So you go ahead and you set up your level, which is easy to do, and it's a lot like Portsl. This is the game. This is setting up to build the software to run the game. The other thing is there's a if I go look at a number of other places. The other thing I wanted to show you, you can see a lot of this in action. There's animations. There's a matinee cinematic a piece of software or environment here to develop movies inside of the game. A lot of power with Unreal Engine, and I'm not going to get a lot into this since this is just my vision video. So this is the second piece. The first piece is a Portsl game, just the game itself, which you'll be able to play and get used to it and see it. And then the second release of the software will be this development environment for you to go ahead and modify what I released in the first environment as a game. Either modify it or build a whole new game from scratch with the software in it, using this software. If I go look at the user interface and look, for example, if I bring up the user interface, I'm going to bring up my menu. And so I created a whole series of menus here. And I just wanted to show you from this menu, in the background it's got a lot of code, and I just wanted to kind of just at least show you some of the kinds of code. This is the visual scripting language. It's basically a set of commands, and you do the flow by connecting the different commands. It's a lot like the advanced material editor in Portsl. So it's not a big jump, and this, I'll kind of zoom out and you'll see this is a lot of the code that I created. I created this way, and this is just the coding associated with the main menu, the Portsl library menu, how it works. But you could get in here and change it if you didn't like the way pieces of it worked, or extend it. And I'm not going to get into this. There'll be a lot of tutorials to show you exactly how this software works. So kind of like let's talk about real quick about how I see this being used. You can play the standalone game and use it just like standalone game for machinima videos and renders. You can get into the development kit that I'll be releasing to learn how to make games, learn about level design, learn about how to do animation and integrate animation, how to do game programming and scripting, especially following my how-to tutorials, how to do material setup for Portsl content inside of Unreal Engine, and a number of other things. You could extend this game that I've built, this demo game that you can see in action in a couple other videos I've created, and add your custom features and release your own independent game, or you can go ahead and just create what I'm calling a content pack that will just extend this game itself. So if you wanted to add some features to this game, you could go ahead and do that. And I would encourage that, because I would like to, eventually what I'd like to see as my vision is a community of us working together, creating a better product, a better overall experience for other Portsl users and game developers. The other thing that I found a lot of fun with this, because I shot a lot of videos and making some videos to show you how it worked. This is a really powerful development kit for making movies, for shooting high-quality videos with your Portsl characters. Now, it's not Portsl. Portsl. If you want to do really high-quality renders, stay with. You're going to be using Portsl for that. This is for real-time game interaction using the Portsl content. The other thing I wanted to talk about was timeline. My initial release for the game, the plan is for summer 2016, the game, the standalone game. The development kit, which will include all this programming, all the content from Portsl converted into Unreal Engine formats, community website with a forum and a bunch of tutorials, the access to the actual underlying code that which you can use to extend, and all the source code associated with the base game, the demo game. I expect to get that done by the end of this year, 2016. And next year, I'm going to go work on the online multiplayer version of this to have a community which actually can get online and have your characters show them off to each other, do scripting together, some classes online, and so on that I plan to do in the summer of 2017, kind of a light competitor to things like Second Life or The Sims. The other question that I get is, well, how much will it cost? Well, it really turns up to be, that's going to be up to Smith Micro. I don't plan on releasing this without Smith Micro's at least their blessing, and hopefully as a partner. And also Unreal Engine has got to make a little bit of money out of it as well. Although I don't really plan on, I would love to see it just added as a new feature in the next release of Poser, not as an additional cost, because I'm not really doing this to make a lot of money. I am on a fixed income, but I don't really want to make money out of this. I would really like to develop a community of like-minded Poser users and game developers to develop the next version of software. Now, I do probably would like to raise a little bit of money to help pay for some of the server environments that I plan on setting up for the online game, but that's down the road next year. Well, once again, I'd like to invite you to visit me online on Facebook, or go to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and see my initial game website I'm setting up that will be released towards the end of next year, or end of this year, I'm sorry. And you can also go to my personal projects website, the Modro Dallas personal projects website, to see some of my versions of my renders, some of my music, and other things, which I invite you to go see that. Well, thanks again. This is my vision, as clouded as it is. And really, I hope to be able to provide this to the Poser community with the help of Smith Micro. I think it would be another step in the evolution of the software. Thanks again. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later.